$8 for 11. It's too much. It's too much.
This is fucking insane. $7 for 10 slices of cheese? I need to get the fuck out of the US.
Everyone's been talking about their sphere ice and how outrageously priced it is.
This economy is so bad. $33 for toilet paper? We can't even afford to shit.
Oh my god, everything's so expensive now. $10.89 for nothing.
$13.99 for a goddamn watermelon.
We're at the grocery store and the eggs are $17.49.
I'm about to show you $10 for the groceries in America. Bread and eggs. $10 for bread and eggs. Good job.
The grilled beef, why is it $30? Who can afford that?
Let me go sell the car.
$40.60 for a fruit tray. Yeah, that's staying on the shelf.
Look at this, $6 for a box of cereal. Who can afford this shit? This is fucking crazy. Then you eat this shit and your mouth gets stuck together with this bullshit. So you're gonna have to eat this to taste. This is crazy. What the fuck is the world coming to?
Life's so damn high you can't even afford to die. Have you seen the cost of caskets and funerals? Man, when I die, just throw my ass in the ocean. Fuck it.
I moved to Iowa in 2021 for the promise of high quality of life and low cost of living, and things have continuously gotten worse since I got here. The cost of gas has gone up $1. The cost of a gallon of milk has almost doubled, which means ice cream is more expensive. Zach Nunn has voted over 6 times to uphold Trump's tariffs, and he keeps supporting the war in Iran, which is contributing to higher prices for all of us. If you live in Iowa's 3rd District like I do, and Zach Nunn is your representative, do not let this stand. Make sure you are letting your voice be heard. Tag him on Instagram at Zach Nunn. Email his office. Make sure that he is taking responsibility to the changes that are affecting all of us.
Dear New Yorkers, how are you guys managing with the prices here? Like, honestly, I know people have been saying New York is super expensive. It's always been super expensive, but I don't know. I just get the feeling that something about right now where it hits differently. Like, going outside means you gotta spend like $100. Okay, maybe that might be an exaggeration, but it's like stepping outside your house, minimum 50 bucks. Like, what? And what I love about the city is that there are numerous free events, quite often. However, it's still a pricey city to live in.
Y'all know that feeling when y'all walk into a New York bodega and somehow you spend $20 for just 3 simple items? I'm talking about milk, bread, eggs, and maybe a drink, and it still ends up being $20. And then you're staring at the bags and you're staring at the receipt and you're like, when did things become this expensive? Democrats and Republicans can argue all day, but what actually matters is for New Yorkers to actually be able to afford simple groceries. Trump's tariffs can raise the cost of imported goods and materials, and those costs can make their way down to consumers. And by consumers, I'm talking about people like you and me. And whether you live in Queens, New York, the Bronx, Manhattan, people shouldn't have to choose what groceries they can afford.
Y'all, so I just did my normal bi-weekly grocery run, got things like chicken, eggs, milk, some produce, nothing crazy, right? Tell me why the total came out to $80. I got basically nothing. Before Trump and all of his tariffs, I used to be able to go to the grocery store, actually fill my cart up, and walk out with that same $80. If you didn't know, Canada is Ohio's #1 export market, and now Trump is trying to impose 50% tariffs on certain Canadian goods starting August 19th. Like, thanks MAGA, we didn't want a trade war, we just wanted affordable groceries.
I was explaining to my friend from Germany how I literally cannot afford my rent, and he was like, but you live in Ohio. Ohio is cheap, isn't it? I was like, well, it used to be. And he was like, but you have a second job, right? I thought that the second job was like for fun and stuff, like for extra money, like to save and stuff. What? He was so shocked that 2 jobs doesn't cover the cost of living, even in Ohio. But I thought that the MAGA Republicans said that everything was going to be cheaper if Trump won. No, but you know what would be an awesome use of money? Another useless war in the Middle East.
What's not funny is that we've normalized going to the cheapest grocery stores, buying the cheapest groceries, working overtime every week just to make ends meet. If you guys can't recognize that this is a problem, then you're the issue. Sorry that I just want to live my 20s the same way my grandparents and parents did. But no, I'm the toxic one because I want nice things in life.
It's not the overspending, it's the cost of living. Here is a breakdown of the average Gen Z and millennials' cost of living in today's world. So number 1 is rent. Everyone knows that Gen Z and millennials have to have a roommate. So splitting a 2-bedroom apartment with utilities is around $1,500. If you have a car, a $12,000 to $15,000 used car is still going to run you $400 a month. Car insurance and gas is another $300. Student loan payment, $500. You're going to have groceries for $500. You're going to have personal care, doctor's appointments, hair, gym, about $150, and then cell phone and miscellaneous $150. That's $3,500 a month, which is baseline. Do you know how much $3,500 a month is? $70,000 a year, or $34 an hour. Because after you take out taxes, put $300 for health insurance, and do a healthy $500 401k contribution, that leaves you with $3,500. This is no fun, no savings, no maintenance, no clothes, no kids, no traveling, no vacations, no bachelor parties, no weddings, no funerals, no clothes, no school supplies, nothing. And this is paycheck to paycheck. And on top of it, they're holding $40,000 of student loan debt, a $15,000 car, and if they ever wanted to buy a house with closing costs and the down payments, another $50,000. So they need $105,000. So even if they were somehow able to scrounge up after $70,000 of paycheck to paycheck, $5,000 to go to a concert, to have avocado toast, whatever it is, $5,000 a year, it would take them 20 years to pay off this debt and save up for a house. 20 years of living with the roommate where that rent's going up, and they're making $70,000 a year as a college graduate. The average person in this country makes $50,000. It is not the overspending. It is a cost of living crisis.
And this is how much it costs for us to live in California. Apartment and dog fee, $4,025. Utilities come to $220. Car cost comes to about $1,325. And health insurance is just over $1,000. Shopping sets us back about $800. And the dog goes about $272. And the necessities like Wi-Fi and phones are $171. And that comes to a grand total of $7,018.15.
So I just moved to the DMV area. I live in Maryland, and I'm trying to figure out, what am I paying for? Why is the cost of living so high? Like, what? Besides being next to DC, there's nothing here. Everything here is ratchet and potholes in every street. I don't get it. And with the price of living here being so high, I need a haircut. I'm looking minimum $55, $60. $65, $75 for a haircut. So then I called for a shop asking for a lineup. They said $40. $40 just to, take my little widow's peak down. $40. Yeah, all right. And then on top of that, there's more me here. It's Chocolateville over here. So I'm like, oh, people gonna be nice. No. I'm in the grocery store giving people the little nod, little smile wave. They're looking at me like, what is he happy to be here for? Especially us men out here. Everybody out here try to out ninja each other. Like, my bad, bro. I ain't mean to be a threat. Like, I don't get it.
So apparently, if you make under $29.84 an hour here in Georgia, you cannot afford a modest 2-bedroom apartment. And we won't even talk about mortgages. So let's look at this data from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, because they recently pulled together numbers of how much you'd need to make per hour to afford a modest 2-bedroom apartment and utilities in your area. Now, the state of Georgia is listed at $29.84. To me, that feels low. I feel like if you're making $29.84, you cannot comfortably afford a 2-bedroom apartment and utilities. But that's just me. So before we dive into some of this zip code data, let's talk about how they defined affordability in the study. They took a maximum of 30% of a household's gross income, that's your income before taxes, that can be spent on rent and utilities, not just rent and utilities. So let's look at some of this zip code data here in Atlanta. Here you can see East Atlanta, Bankhead, West Midtown, and some of these numbers are just shocking. I mean, if you've ever looked for apartments here, you know that rent prices are just insane, but seeing it written out like this is wild. If you feel like you're drowning, if you feel like you can't keep up, if you feel like rent is too expensive, you are not alone. These numbers are wild. It's a problem.
If you live in Ohio and you pay for electricity, you need to listen to this, because I was looking at my utility bill from last month and I thought that the electric seemed really high, so I looked into it and I'm shocked. Okay, so last year residential electricity in Ohio averaged 16.10 cents per kilowatt hour. By this year, it's up to 18.78 cents per kilowatt hour, which is up to 16.6% increase. And this is just the average. There's a lot of people that it's way more. Oh, and it gets way worse, because if you think that's all you're paying to the electric companies, you're wrong, because Ohio House Bill 6 gave $1 billion of bailouts to the electric companies. Wait, but that sucks for Ohio residents. Why would they do that? Oh, maybe it has something to do with a $60 million bribe scandal that the energy companies had, and a $1 million contribution to John Husted, the MAGA Republican that's now running for our senator after taking money from these electric companies that are now screwing us over. The first energy executives were literally texting about how much John Husted was helping them out.
The cost of living is so bad in America that one job isn't enough, two incomes isn't enough, whether you're married or you have a partner. One job is not enough. Two incomes is not enough to even cover the basics. Keep it a bean, keep it a buck. The cost of living is so bad in America that we are now hustling for our basic necessities. We are hustling for our rent. We are hustling for our car note. We are hustling for groceries. Now we're hustling for the rising gas prices. Now we are hustling for our basic necessities. Do y'all remember when back in the day, however old you is, all you had to do was hustle for your vacation? You know, you was gonna hustle for some clothes, some jewelry that you wanted. Yeah, baby, them days are gone. We are hustling for the basic necessities, and it's sad. The cost of living is so bad in America that now most of us want to leave America to find better living outcomes, to have a better life experience. Hello, Thailand. Hello, Bali. Hello, China. Because, baby, what? Their cost of living is what out there? Hey, the American dollar stretches a lot further in those countries. Do your research. The cost of living is so bad in America. Now you have to literally choose which bills are important to pay first. We are always going to want to pay our rent first because we got to keep the roof over our head. But really, they're all important. You got to keep lights inside the damn house, right? You got to keep the water running, right? You got to pay for those things to have a functioning household. But now you got to decide which one's more important, the car note or the rent. It's always going to be rent, obviously, but they're all important. And having to decide which one is more important when they're all important is sad. Now, this one might be controversial, but the cost of living is so bad, and this is for the people who wouldn't take advantage of the system, but some of us, or pretty much all of us, need to be on food stamps because the rising food prices, yeah, we can't afford that shit at regular price. We can't, even with the damn coupons. Like, the food rising costs is getting out of control. Like, yeah, some of us, maybe all of us, need to be on food stamps. This is for the ones that wouldn't take advantage of the system. The cost of living is so bad in America, and this might not just be an American thing, but most of us just want to be content creators and make great money off of our content. Yeah, we rather do that because fuck a 9 to 5 at this point. Fuck a 8 to 5 at this point. Whenever you start 6 to 5, fuck those type of jobs. We rather become content creators, make stress-free money like that, than be in somebody's office or be in somebody's warehouse or be outside in the environment. We really rather just do that. And shout out to y'all who are really doing this content stuff because it's not easy. Tell me what y'all think. Like and follow for more, y'all.
America has literally built a system where being poor is more expensive. And nobody talks about how backwards that is. Like, if you're already struggling, everything costs more. On a bill you couldn't afford? Well, now you owe more. Miss a payment because you were trying to juggle rent and groceries? Well, now your credit drops and you owe even more money. Overdraw your account by a few dollars? Well, now you owe $50. Like, the system punishes you for already being behind. We're always rewarding millionaires while the people that are struggling the most just simply end up paying the most money. But everybody still says, work harder, budget better. The reality right now is the economy is brutal. It is so hard to get ahead right now. How are you supposed to get ahead whenever you fall behind a little bit and the system just keeps pushing you back further and further? Everything is insane right now. Rent is at an all-time high. Groceries are so expensive. I don't understand how we're supposed to get ahead in this economy anymore. Don't get me wrong, budgeting does help. I literally have to budget with mine or else I don't know where any of my money would be going. But it doesn't make up for the fact that the system is literally designed to fail us. So if you're struggling right now, you are not alone.
Do y'all know that the average American doesn't have any money left over, if but maybe $200 or $300 left after they get paid every 2 weeks or every month? Did y'all know that? I'm sorry, but that I literally feel like drive me to voluntary homelessness. I would volunteer to be homeless. There's no way they'd have me out here working for anybody and I can't live life after I pay bills. Y'all can have these bills back. Take the car, take the crib. You can have it. Listen, I'm going to be homeless on the streets before I dare. Because, see, the way I'm set up, my Father which art in heaven would never have that be my portion. That's not my portion. There's no way that paying bills and not having any money left over to really exist, that's not my portion. That's not my portion. And I feel like if that doesn't motivate you and inspire you to get out here and go make some money, make more money. See, the problem with us nowadays is not that we don't know how to make money. It's just that we need to make more money. Find ways to make more money. Stop making excuses. You need to be trying to be the president of the United States before you stop trying to find a new job. Listen, if you got to switch jobs every single 2 weeks, then that's what you got to do. May the best salary win. Thank you.
How much does it cost for my family of 6 to live in America? So we live in a 5-bedroom house in an A-rated neighbourhood with A-rated schools, and we pay $3,100 per month. We also pay $50 per month to our HOA, and they upkeep the swimming pool, the walk-in areas, the pickleball court. We have access to a park also. We pay between $400 and $500 per month for our utilities, and that includes the water, the trash, the sewage and our electric. We pay $140 per month for 4 SIM-only phone contracts. We pay $50 per month for our home insurance. We also pay $600 per month for our health insurance. Obviously, this is all catered to us. Other houses could be different, but this is just to give you an insight of how much it costs. As I do get asked this question quite a lot. We also pay $25 per month for our Spotify account. We pay about $400 per month for our gas, as my husband does drive quite a lot for work, and we spend around $250 per week, so $1,000 per month on our groceries. So that is a grand total of $5,865 per month, and that is how much it costs us roughly a month to live here in Florida.
Is nobody going to talk about how expensive it got to live in Texas lately? We were all promised a lower cost of living, but we actually just got scammed. Let me tell you something that blows my mind. The median house price is now somewhere around $340K. To afford that, you'd have to be making anywhere from $80 to $100K before taxes. Okay, cool. Sounds easy enough, right? 1/3 of Texas is making less than $20 an hour. It's a little over $40K before any taxes. So how is anyone supposed to afford a house when you have 1/3 of the state making less than half of what they would need to get an average house? It's just not affordable. Everything keeps getting more expensive. The price of a house keeps going up, and yet wages are still the same. And that's 30 years of Republican leadership in Texas for you.
I was explaining to my friend from Italy how I literally cannot afford my rent anymore. And she was like, oh, but you live in Ohio, right? Like, isn't Ohio supposed to be pretty cheap? Like, it's not like New York or California. And I was like, yeah. Exactly, it used to be cheap, it used to be affordable, and now the prices for everything is so jacked up and it's not proportional to how the state is. And my friend was like, don't you have a second job? And I was like, yes I do. She was like, oh my god, I thought that was for like extra like saving money or something. She was baffled that I actually have to have 2 jobs and I still can barely pay my rent and afford to live in Cleveland. And I was like, yeah, it's because of these MAGA Republicans that just support policies that jack up the prices for everyone and for the working class, and they do not actually care about the working class, and it's just so frustrating.
So this is the reality of what it's like to be an Australian living in the US. I just moved here 3 months ago today, and everything is so fucking expensive. Everything is 1.5 times the price of what it costs in Australia. So, you know, at the moment I'm walking an hour to get home instead of catching a 10-minute Uber because there's no public transport and you have to make savings where you can. So, you know, the Uber that's say $15 is going to be like, what is that, like 24 Australian dollars, and it adds up, right? You know, when I go to CVS here and buy something, just say I want to buy, like, one thing that I keep seeing is these mighty pimple patches. They're like $20. I'm not spending 30 Australian dollars for a pimple patch. I mean, look, on the 18th of August, I have nowhere to live, which is in 6 days, and you just got to roll with it and back yourself, so.
This is New York, and the gas prices right now is not dead ass, okay? $4 for a gallon for regular And $5 for premium is out of control, kid. That ass. Like, how are we surviving right now? I spent $150 a week on gas, okay? What happened to all the oil that we seized from the Middle East and Venezuela and all these places that we invading and taking their oil? Like, what happened? It doesn't matter what gas station you go to anymore. Speedway, Mobile, Hess, it doesn't even matter. You can't even find gas out of state. You should be able to find the cheap gas outside of the state before. You can't even do that no more. There's no cheap gas anywhere, okay? Dead ass. Like, this is New York, and we got to do something about these gas prices so we can drive places and get to where we need to go, okay? Like, dead ass.
I don't know who I need to be cussing out about the fact that I just filled up my car in Ohio and it cost me $80, but I know damn well it's a MAGA Republican. Because what was the point of this stupid ass war with Iran? It's literally just making all of our lives worse for no reason, but no MAGA Republicans are gonna admit this, especially in Ohio, because they're so far up Trump's ass.
Yes, I agree. I think the downturn of the housing market and the unwillingness of people to continue paying high prices to stay in apartments and instead moving home is going to be the catalyst that leads to a rise in multi-generational family homes in America. It will no longer be paying high rents to a landlord. Instead, it will be multiple adults coming forward to maintain a home. I think this is a turning point in America. All around the world, multi-generational homes are sort of the norm, but in America, individualism has been pushed. Our suburban realities was one that promised us sort of a safety net of privacy from other people, including our own family members. Now that changes. Grandma may have to shack up with their child, and the child of that child may have to come home after college to live with their parents again. It is no longer worth it to throw away your money into these luxury apartments, especially when you can't even expect rent to stay the same from year to year. So what's going to happen instead, especially as being in a house becomes more expensive due to property taxes and other expenses? Adults are going to have to come together to maintain the family home, the base. The late 2020s will be defined by a rise in multi-generational living in America.
Whenever I talk about the federal minimum wage in Texas not changing over the years, I always get the same comments. Well, I make more than minimum wage. The thing is, I feel like you're missing the point. The point isn't that everyone's making $7.25 an hour. The point is that federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. And it's been this way since 2009. Meanwhile, the cost of living has changed dramatically. Groceries cost more, rent costs more, gas costs more, insurance costs more, and someone is still earning that minimum wage. It honestly just makes you wonder why MAGA Republicans haven't done anything to change this.
Some of y'all ain't never went to motherfucking school, and it shows. And some of y'all damn sure ain't never took a motherfucking math class. So let's run some numbers. There's a lady on here that says she has a family of 14. She gets $2,000 in food stamps. Let's do some simple fucking math, okay? $2,000 divided by 14 people equals $142 a month for each person. Divide that by 30 days in a month. That is $4.73 a person. That lady is a fucking miracle worker. She's not getting over on the system. Then I said, wow, you're working miracles at $4.73 a person because I spend $800 to $1,000 a month on groceries. And then somebody comments, $800 to $1,000 for two people. Let's do some motherfucking math here, people. $200 divided by 7 days a week is $28.57. $28.57 divided by two people is $14.28. I'm a motherfucking miracle worker too. So when I tell y'all that it costs $200 a week and that's just dinners and eggs for breakfast, that's what it costs. That's what it costs. Where the fuck you know that you can go and feed somebody for a day for $14.28? My God, do some fucking math. Oh. Thanks for letting me share. Y'all just pissed me off. Y'all just pissed me off. Like, y'all don't know what the fuck shit costs. No, y'all just don't have a motherfucking budget. Ain't never budgeted a day in your motherfucking life. You ain't never had to make miracle fucking work. I don't know. Or you just have no concept of dollars and cents. All right, I'm done. God damn. Simple arithmetic.
This isn't the American dream anymore. It seems like the American struggle. You know, your grocery bill is the same price as your mortgage payment or your rent payment. Hope's down, rent's up. You can't find a piece of land anymore because people from other countries or big developers are coming in and they're splitting it into eighth acre lots and building houses, and then they're charging $500,000 to a middle apiece, and then saying that's the American dream. American dream used to be where you could afford things, where you could afford as a family to buy a house, pay for your groceries, get good health care, get child care, so that you can work. The American dream used to be about dreams. You could dream of a better life. You could dream of your own 40-acre plot of land with animals and a big garden. It used to be where you could go to your neighbor's house and ask for sugar. I wouldn't knock on my neighbor's door anymore in America because you're liable to get shot. And then they think they're right. And you see that on the news all the time. It happens every single day, it seems like, in America. Living in America now, you're required to almost speak 2 to 3 different languages just to understand everybody in a single day. That's not my American dream. My American dream is about hope. My American dream is about love. My American dream is to be able to raise a family and to put kids in school without having to worry about something terrible can happen to them, or that the teachers don't even speak English in a lot of the schools, and the kids come home and their grades are bad because they can't understand the work the teacher's given. Folks, that's not the American dream. That's the American nightmare. This is Outlaw Unfiltered, and I'm John Collins.
Alright, so a recent survey from J.G. Wentworth showed that 92% of respondents had delayed or fully avoided medical care due to cost concerns. The survey also showed that even with coverage, 94% of people still worried about hospital bills, with 85% of people reporting that they hold medical debt, which naturally is just leading people to just straight up avoid medical care entirely. The latest numbers show that Americans now owe $220 billion in medical debts, and now it's being shown that having insurance doesn't even make a difference anymore. I mean, what kind of scam are they running over there? I mean, you gotta pay into this thing every month for it to not even cover your medical expenses, which is the one thing it's supposed to do. I mean, do you know how insane these numbers are? 96% of people were insured, and yet 85% of those people were holding medical debt. I mean, this whole thing is a complete scam. It's no wonder people just opt to skip healthcare entirely. The whole thing is a lose-lose situation. We're at a time in this country where people have to either suffer through debilitating medical conditions or go into massive debt. And what does the government do? Spikes inflation with another forever war, gives out massive tariff refunds to big corporations, give out tax cuts to the rich, oh, and let's not forget another $100 billion to the small country. And cherry on top there, they get free healthcare.
I was talking to one of my dad's boomer friends about how expensive everything in Ohio has gotten and about how I can't find an apartment that I can afford on the income that I'm on right now. And he goes, well, just a little tip for you, it might be a little uncomfortable. You might not be able to live in luxury, but just make sure that you don't spend more than 30% of your income on your housing. I said, I make $15 an hour. Find me a decent apartment in central Ohio. It can be small for less than like $1,200 a month. You're not gonna. And on $15 an hour, $1,200 rent is literally more than 46% of your income, basically half. That's already bad enough just on the rent alone, which is already on the MAGA Republicans that he voted for because they've had decades to fix this and they haven't done it. But then when you consider the $60+ million bribery scandal that they were tied up in for utilities, that's part of the reason that you and me pay so much more for utilities now. Now it just becomes completely ridiculously unlivable in Ohio.
How much does it cost us to live in California? So for context, we are a family of 5 and we live north of LA in a 4-bed detached house, which is almost 3,000 square foot. And we are also in an A-rated neighborhood with access to 3 swimming pools. The rent on this property is $5,100 per month. And in terms of utilities, we spend about $60 in gas, $40 in water, and just $20 in electric. The reason that's so low is because we also pay $150 per month to lease the solar panels, and that brings our electricity costs down a lot. Tenants insurance is $35, our waste collection is $38. We don't pay for the HOA and the gardener, that's already paid for by the landlords and is included in our rent price. And we also pay $80 per month for pest control. Internet, we pay $40. For my SIM only contract, we pay $57. And for subscriptions like Netflix, Spotify, Disney, that can fluctuate because we're always subscribing and then cancelling, so it's about $50 per month. We have 2 cars in our household. My husband's car we bought outright, but my Ford Explorer is on a finance plan at about $480 per month. We spend about $400 per month fueling both of the cars. There is $35 per month in car tax, and then the car insurance for both of them is $488 per month, which seems a lot because in the UK we were paying about this amount annually for our cars. My son's soccer is $280 per month. My daughter's gymnastics is $150 per month. And we also have gym membership with a Pilates add-on, so for me and my husband to use, and that is $90 per month. Health insurance is $400 per month for the family, and food spends can be anything from $1,000 upwards. It all depends on whether there are celebrations or social occasions, or whether the kids are in school. Loads of factors influence our food spends, but I would say as a minimum, $1,000 per month. The total comes to almost $9,000. Obviously, everybody's spends look different. Everybody has different priorities. We also have credit card debt that we need to clear off. And we also like to keep a bit of money aside each month in case we have any medical bills. We also have our house in the UK being rented out, but the rent doesn't cover the mortgage. So we do have to top that account up each month as well. But I think I've covered everything, and I hope that's given you some insight into how much we spend each month living in California.
So we did average monthly cost of living in the US, and we did average monthly cost of living in the state of Georgia, and now we're going to do Atlanta. So let's do this thing. Average studio apartment, $1,500. Average one bed, $1,635. Average car payment, $695. Average car insurance, $255. That's up $35 from the state average. Health insurance is $550 a month, phone bill $101 a month, water sewer $95, electric $192.50. That's up almost $30 from the state average. Internet $75 a month, groceries for a single person $418 a month, and average student loan payment in the city of Atlanta is $434. That means before taxes, just to get your bare bones minimums needs met, no retirement, no savings, you need $5,267 per month. For if you want a one bedroom, you're going to need $5,432. Mind you, the median income for the state of Atlanta is $52,000, which does not get you over $60,000 pre-tax, unfortunately. So for a single person in the state of Atlanta, just to have your bare bones needs met, you're going to need $63,204 for a studio apartment and $65,250 for a one bedroom apartment. Okay, bye, love you.
Hey, what's up, America? Consumer spending starts to fall here in the United States as retail sales start to go negative. So retail sales here in the United States have steadily been falling as Americans don't have the money to buy shit they want. Now, last month, retail sales grew at approximately only 0.2%, but this month they dropped to negative 0.6%. So this means we went from small, very insignificant growth down to abject decline and negative numbers for the first time in a while. Now, this is still less than 1%, but in an economy like ours, this signifies significant pullback from the average American buying retail. Now, of course, this decline in retail sales may have implications for the value of the dollar. This forces downward pressure on the value of the dollar. And this also shows a great deal of uncertainty in our economy during the, quote, golden age of America. Now, top economists are stating they're not sure if this is a temporary adjustment or if retail sales will be significantly down for the fourth quarter, which, of course, as you know, is Halloween, Thanksgiving, and, of course, Christmas, the largest sales season of the year. And if retail sales and all other sales are relatively flat compared to other fourth quarters, it means that the new year coming up will be significantly worse for your finances. So typically what you see is the fourth quarter has a ramp up in sales and ad revenue, of course, with a major decline in sales and ad revenue in the first quarter. Most companies put a great deal of resources into the fourth quarter because that's when your average population splurges for the holidays. And these giant corporations want that money. But we're in August, which generally sees a flat to slightly higher increase in sales, and we're already starting to see a decline. This is significant because if people don't have enough money to afford their life, they will be pulling back on the fourth quarter. And if those sales are flat, corporations will have a shit show coming up the first quarter of 2027. And this may be when you start to see market corrections. And so, like I said, this is purely speculatory in the future coming up here, but based on what I'm seeing and based on what top economists are seeing, this may be very poor for the upcoming year for your finances and for growth in America.
The cost of living is so bad in America that the landlords are so out of touch with reality and what's really going on in America that they're still asking you for 3 times the rent. If I made 3 times the rent, I would not be applying to rent a place. I would be applying for an actual house, right? Keep it up. The cost of living is so bad in America that your credit score trumps even your income. Even if you make good income, those who know, you know. Your credit score is bad, that's not going to get you nowhere. You got to have good credit and good income. The cost of living is so bad that some people have no choice but to live in a hotel or even live in a shelter because of credit, because they can't afford anything else, because everything is out of their price range. It's that bad. The cost of living is so bad that when we are applying to places to live, we're spending hundreds, almost $200 to $300 on application fees for places that we don't even know if we're going to get, because there's obviously no guarantee because they still got to run your background. It's that bad. The cost of living is so bad in America that most of us don't even live where our jobs are at, because typically wherever your job is at is way too expensive for you to be able to afford to live in the same area of your job. Some of us, not all of us, but if you know, you know. The cost of living is so bad in America that you have to split up your rent payments into 2 payments per month because it's too much to pay all at once. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you might save a little bit more money doing that because, you know, it's a good financial decision. But, you know, sometimes some bills you just want to get them out the way. Okay, it's due at the first of the month, from the 1st to the 5th or whatever. You want to get that shit out the way and worry about the other bills. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would prefer it. What do y'all think?
So LA is getting a luxury gas station, and it's got me thinking about what I'm like want to call the luxuryification of our economy. Like, we've got luxury water, we've got luxury gas stations, we've got luxury grocery stores and all of this stuff, but none of this stuff is actually a solution to anything. Instead, it's because of our economy right now, where the top 20% of income earners are like 60% of consumer spending, and the bottom isn't spending as much. So all of the goods that are being made, innovated, are targeting the people that are actually buying things. And this is kind of called in economics a K-shaped economy. Like, it's where these top income earners spending more, so stuff gets targeted towards them. These bottom income earners aren't spending as much. So like things like the stock market's doing great. AI is creating all this wealth. That's helping this top. But then you've also got fewer entry-level jobs and high gas prices. That hurts the bottom more. We all fill up our tanks the same. But like $100 to like me or you is a lot different than someone who's making billions of dollars. And this is actually, like, we talk about the social effects of this. This creates profound social effects. Like, you know, someone who's raised in a penthouse on the Upper East Side, they're never going to step foot in a public school. Their parents aren't going to deal with, like, well, what district does my kid go to? They're never going to have to deal with that. In West Los Angeles, like, you know, people in Brentwood probably never have to deal with a police officer. They're private securities that, like, patrol. This creates, like, such profound social impacts when everything that you do, down to the water that you purchase, is different from someone else. That's a productivity problem, and it's also a social problem. It's a productivity problem because, like, the things that are innovative affect everyone. New technology innovates for everyone. That creates the most economic value. Like, think about, like, the invention of the automobile versus, like, I don't know, like a renamed gluten-free pretzel. They're just different, and I love a gluten-free pretzel. Like, I love these, like, I love a occasional, like, $19 Erewhon smoothie, but I understand that that's not a solution to anything. That's a symptom of a growing income divide that affects our whole economy. And then it has those social effects, because when your life is so polarly like, so it's such a polar opposite to someone else's, how can you possibly relate to them? How can they possibly relate to you? And in the absence of third spaces, those places that aren't home, work, or whatever, that you meet with people of a different economic status, these divides just keep getting greater and greater, and that creates further division. And so economics is not, like, income inequality is an economic problem, it's also a social problem, and they're interconnected.
Hey, what's up, America? The cost of living here in the United States is still way too high. And massive amounts of people are still financially struggling, even though the stock market is the highest it's ever been. So even though Elon Musk is a trillionaire and the top 1% have gained hundreds of percent in the last couple of years, the general population here in the United States, the majority of the people, approximately 70%, are struggling financially every single day. Most cannot pay all their bills. The amount of cars being seized for non-payment is going up steadily. Houses are being seized also due to inability to pay the mortgage. Same with property tax. You're getting a lot of houses being taken because of non-payment of property tax now as well. Food prices remain high. Gas prices are starting to come down, thank God, but diesel prices need to come down a lot in order to get the products we have to lower the prices just across the board there. Home prices are still about an average of $410,000, give or take, which is out of reach for most Americans. And wages are still stagnant, only going up a couple of percent in the last several years, even though inflation has more than doubled what you've been paid as far as a wage increase, for the most part. The cost of rent throughout the United States is once again the highest it's ever been, and insurance costs are simply not worth it in a total ripoff. Some people with $10,000 or more deductibles that are crippling them, and the same with auto and home insurance. It's ridiculous. And we could go on and on about high meat prices, high food prices, drink prices, everything prices. But the value of the dollar needs to go up and prices need to come the fuck down. That's all there is to it. Price gouging and horrible economic prowess. Now we need to get our shit together one way or another and stop the price gouging. It's every fucking business, every industry, and everything, even outside of breathing, has been monetized. It's too fucking much for everybody. The expectation you put on your citizenry is simply too fucking much. Stop it, you greedy fucking whores.
So we in America can't even afford to live anymore. This 1976 cost of living, the average income was $16,000. A home was $43,000. New car, $5,000. Rent, $220 per month. Just look at these prices. So based on that, they're saying that the average income should be what, $84,000 now? So that means that with $240,000, I should be able to buy a new house. It's not possible. And also the average income is not $84,000. Most people are making way less than that. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, but it's not $84,000. And based on this, I should be able to get a new car. That's what? It says it would be like $5,000. So if my income is $80,000, a new car should be like $20,000, which most of the time they also are not. Unless you're getting a value car. Also, if we're looking at this, your rent for the year should only be 15% of $6,000, which would be about $2,000 something dollars, which our rent is not 15% per year. It's like 30 or 40% per month. So yeah, something is definitely wrong. New car, nothing is adding up. So basically, we're not making enough to support what things cost, and it's a horrible thing.
The cost of living in America right now is way out of control. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford to live even in a decent house. Everything is just out of touch, and the situation is not going to change anytime soon, considering Trump is only adding tariffs to everything. The grocery shopping that used to cost $80 for everything, for the supplies, for a person's supply for maybe a week, now is going to even cost double. People are saying even the cost of dying is too high. You can't afford caskets. They are even about to monetize the air that you're breathing. So living in America has become shitty. I don't know where Americans are supposed to do. I don't know where Americans are supposed to go. I don't know I don't know what they are supposed to do. But this is out of hand. This is so insane. This is not the American dream, the American life that we were taught when we were little. It sucks, and there's nothing to admire about America right now. Anyway, these are just my views and my reactions to what these people are talking about, because they are so furious. You can feel the anger, you can feel the frustration with them living in America. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.